looking at Arizona State, I mean, obviously they seem like they're a lot different, especially with Carson at point guard. What does he kind of give them?
Well, they are different. They're a much different team than they've been in the past. They're looking to push it a little bit more. They've got a big fellow in the middle that's, well, they have more than one big guy in the middle, but they've got some guys in the paint that are really efficient and effective on both ends of the court. And with Carson, he's a guy that can beat you a lot of ways. He's a good defender, very, very good on-ball defender. He's good in transition, and then in the quarter court, he can make plays very well, especially for a freshman. And then they just have a lot of other pieces. I mean, I think Carrick Felix has been Conference Player of the Week 3 times, so obviously he's really, really good. Gilling is an outstanding shooter. They've got a really, really good team. There's a reason why they're I think tied for third at 5-2.
With them, I mean, getting up and down the floor a little more than they have, are they able to get set and play that same kind of defense that they have under Sendek? Because they look the same there.
No, they've changed, and they played a lot of matchup in the past, but they've gone to playing more of a traditional man-to-man defense, and they've had good success. Their statistics are good on the defensive end too.
How much does it change this, this trip with playing the Arizonas? I know in the past coaches say it's kind of hard because you go from playing against an ASU team that's so much different in style from Arizona. Is there still that difference there? Is it
not as much? Not that makes it easy to play them.
Right.
I mean, if you add their record compared to any other travel partners, I think they have the best win-loss record at, I guess it'd be 10-4. I think they're both 5-2. But they play a little more similar style now because of Arizona State now pushing a little bit more in transition and playing just a little faster.
What have you seen from Mike Ladd here since conference play started? Is this the kind of scoring that maybe you were hoping he'd add last year before all the injuries and everything?
Yeah, we felt like Mike Ladd would be able to step in last year and contribute, in a really positive way, maybe average 10 or 11 points a game. But because of the injuries, like I've mentioned numerous times, he was held back because of those injuries all season long. He either was hurt with the thumb, or he was trying to play through it, and he just didn't really have an opportunity to show how good a player he was last year.
Well, you talked, early in the year about finding a scoring complement to Brock and all that. Was he a guy that maybe you thought could be that, but the way you relied on him to play point guard, you weren't sure if he could be?
Yeah, that's fair to say, because I really felt like he had so many other responsibilities with the ball, initiating our offense, just doing other things that he'd be just, not just, but more of a complementary player. But he's done a great job and continues to score well for us.
You mentioned that you played Bryce Levin a little more in the first half and kind of tried to keep guys fresher toward the end. Were you pleased with the result there, and is that something that you might do more going forward?
It'll be game to game, depending on the matchups, the tempo of the game, what we were trying to do on both ends of the floor, whether Bryce or anybody else gets in there.
Then I don't know what your general philosophy is up 3 and the other team's got the ball with like a last possession. Obviously you chose not to foul on Saturday and it worked out. What kind of went behind the decision there?
We actually chose to foul.
Really?
Yeah, and we just didn't do a very good job of fouling.
How far out do you want to foul a guy?
Depends where the ball is. I mean, is it underneath the basket? Is it being taken out on the other end like it was the other night, where they have to go the length of the court? how much time is on the court, on the clock, who's going to have the ball in their hands. I mean, there's just so many things to think about in regards to what you're going to do strategically. And in my mind, it changes game to game. It's not like this is what we're going to do every single time. But in the incident the other night, we wanted to foul Starks near midcourt. We figured he'd cross midcourt between 5 and 6 seconds, and let's foul him right about that point. But he made a good move, and Mike Ladd couldn't get to him.
Any word on Q Johnson practicing?
He will not be practicing this year. Yeah, we just found out the other day. He will not be able to practice with us this year. Very unfortunate. Disappointing.
Does that influence at all his eligibility for next year? I mean, in terms of what the NCAA was thinking, is he still looking?
Yeah, everything else is the same. Yeah, everything else is the same. They just stuck to their guns and said, no, he's allowed to be in school, go to class, but he's not allowed to practice.
Psychologically, how big was that win this past weekend? Not just to end the losing streak, but for your players to kind of be in a tight moment where they actually needed to come up with a big bucket or free throw and to actually do it.
It was huge for us, at the time. You often wonder how that translates into the next game or games. So we'll wait and find out. But I think for the time being, it was really important for us to be able to come out of there on the road with a win and make some good plays to make that happen.
And there were times in that game where it seemed like if the team needed a bucket, they wanted the ball in Mike Ladd's hands, and that seemed to be almost like he seemed like a nice compliment to Brock Modem early on in the year. Is he almost emerging now as the go-to guy for this team? Right now,
he's a guy that we're looking to get shots for, and depending on him to provide for us.
Sure.
Till some other guys are able to do the same thing that he's doing, which I think will happen.
Yeah. And
I don't think you're going to see for the rest of the season where certain guys aren't able to score or not scoring. Royce Woolridge did a great job the other night, last few minutes. He stepped up, made a couple big buckets, and then hit 2 critical free throws.
Yeah. I remember a few games ago, DJ Shelton was, I think, 0 for 7 from the field, and he had mentioned that you guys had kind of talked about, what you guys need from him. How did you feel he responded against Oregon State?
I thought he did a good job. Came out, had 10 rebounds, did some really good things defensively. Did not make shots, but from the perimeter. But he did some good things for us.
Sure. Do you look to reel him back when he's 0 for 5, 0 for 6 from 3-point line? Do you tell him in a timeout, but ease up, or how do you approach that?
No, I don't. Right or wrong, if they're bad shots, I would. But I thought DJ was getting good looks. He just didn't make them. And I think he's a pretty good shooter. We see him every day in practice. We chart every shot. So he's proven to us as a staff, as a team, that he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. But that game, he didn't shoot well.
What do you think it's going to take to get Devontae back on track?
Make a few shots. I think if he makes a few shots, he'll be just fine.
All right, more questions for Coach on the phones? No questions?
Ken, this is Howie. Felix, any specific improvements you see in him? He showed flashes last year, but I don't know if I saw him being as good as he's been this year.
I would say, I would say that he's very similar to Mike Ladd in that he's playing a lot of minutes and he's confident out there, and therefore he's producing.
Just think, are those two guys? I mean, I might be missing somebody, but can you think of anybody that's more improved in the league than those two guys?
I haven't given it a whole lot of thought, but they're two of the better ones. They're two of the guys that have improved maybe as much as anybody else. The Washburn kid, I think, has improved quite a bit from Utah. even one of Felix's teammates, Paczynski, he's turned himself into, or they've turned him into a great player. He's going to have a chance to play in the NBA. So there's a few guys out there, but I think Mike Ladd and Carrick Felix are two of the guys that have done a great job this year.
Hey, Coach, this is Bruce Pasco at the Arizona Daily Star in Tucson. I was just curious, following up on what you said about Mike Ladd, how has it worked out with him as a point guard, and you've been playing Royce, I understand, there a lot, and has that changed at all because of Mike's offensive abilities, where you play him off the ball more, or how does that work?
Well, I wouldn't really say either one of them is our point guard. I think we have a few combo guards, and I guess whoever initiates the play would be considered the point guard for that possession. But we change that around quite a bit. Mike is the guy most of the time, but Royce initiates plays quite a bit also. So therefore, on that possession, Mike's more of an off guard or a combo guard. Yeah. They're just sharing that responsibility.
Well, how did that work working in Mike with his abilities to score? I mean, did you have to work with him a lot as a point guard, or did he pick up some of that responsibility, like you're saying, naturally, or how would that go?
I think a lot of it is just his natural feel for the game. He's played a lot of basketball over the years. He's a kid out of Seattle, played at Rainier Beach High School, 2 years at Fresno State, transferred here, sat out a year, and so he has a lot of games and experience under his belt, and I think he's got a pretty good feel for how to play. It helps that he was in our program as a redshirt and then last year to understand our system. But I do think he's done an outstanding job of trying to fulfill a different role that he's never really played. So he's doing a good job there. Because Reggie Moore was our point guard and Reggie had the ability to score, a number of our sets end up in opportunities for the point guard to look for shots. So it's not like we've tweaked a whole lot of things. It just happens that Mike's doing a good job scoring.